You're not gonna believe this, but I just paid nearly $9 for a dozen eggs at Walmart. And no, that's not a joke or a typo. But here's the scary part. That price might look cheap compared to what's coming. According to a brand new USDA forecast, egg prices could spike another 41% in 2025, and that's just the beginning. Because eggs, they're only one piece of a much bigger problem. Over the past month, my team dove deep into shipping logs, supplier data, and insider memos from over 200 major distributors. What we found was absolutely alarming. 12 common grocery items, stuff sitting in your kitchen right now, are on the verge of vanishing. Some of them are already being limited to one per customer, quietly and without any headlines. If you think this is just about eggs or inflation, think again. I spent hours visiting big box stores across the city last week. The empty shelves I saw aren't being covered on the news, but they're real. And if you're not paying attention now, you're going to regret it in a few months. So what's going on? It turns out we're heading into the most severe food shortage crisis in decades. You need to know what's disappearing, why it's happening, and exactly what you can do to stay ahead of the chaos. Let's start at number 12 on the list, eggs. Now you might already be feeling the pinch here, but it's worse than you think. Since 2022, bird flu outbreaks have wiped out 166 million birds. Just this year alone, 31 million hens have died. That's not just a statistic, it's a supply chain nightmare. Last Tuesday at 7 a.m., I hit up my local Kroger early to beat the rush. The egg section, completely cleared out. Mike, the dairy manager I've known for over a decade, pulled me aside and said, "We're getting about 30% of our usual deliveries. It's the worst I've seen in 15 years. And here's a chilling detail. Wholesale egg prices hit $8.53 but Lanekrab said $53 last month. That's before the store markup. Based on insider info from a grocery distributor I trust, 12 eggs could be reality by spring. So what can you do? You've got options, good ones. First, powdered eggs are no longer the weird camping food you remember. Products like Ova Juicy taste shockingly close to fresh eggs, last up to 7 years, and one container equals 40 eggs. I tested it on my kids last weekend. They couldn't even tell. Also, here's a clever prepper tip. Freeze beaten eggs in ice cube trays. 1 cube equals 1 egg. Just thaw and use, great for baking or cooking. They stay good for up to a year in the freezer. Now let's talk about item number 11, premium cooking oils. And yes, you should be worried. During the pandemic, shelves ran dry of oils for months. And guess what? It's starting again. A global shipping crunch has sent freight costs skyrocketing, and heavy items like cooking oils are getting hit hard. Especially premium stuff like extra virgin olive oil, which also happens to go rancid fast if you store it wrong. Trust me, I've learned that the hard way. So here's what I've switched to: refined coconut oil and avocado oil. Refined coconut oil can last 5 years if stored properly, and even doubles as a natural salve or emergency fire starter. No joke, I've tested that myself. It burns clean for almost 5 minutes. Avocado oil, total powerhouse. With a smoke point of 520 frisch and handles everything from searing to baking. Bonus, it lasts longer and it's super versatile. Here's a mistake most people make: buying those giant jugs. Bad idea. The second you open them, the oil starts to degrade. Instead, get smaller 16-oz bottles so you only expose what you actually use. I rotate about 8 of them regularly and haven't had a single one go bad. And finally, number 10, canned protein. Think tuna is your safe bet? Think again. There's a massive aluminum shortage unfolding quietly behind the scenes. Right now, some of the biggest canning facilities in North America are running at just 60% capacity. They simply can't get enough aluminum. But while everyone's panic buying tuna, the real hidden gems are canned chicken and canned salmon. Brands like Valley Fresh or Swanson offer delicious ready-to-eat chicken that's loaded with protein, 32 grams per 12.5 oz can. My kids actually preferred it over fresh in their sandwiches. And don't overlook canned salmon. I buy Bumblebee pink salmon for under $4 a can. It tastes like something from a restaurant and lasts 3 years on the shelf. Here's a system that works. Use a Sharpie to write the purchase date on every can and rotate the older ones to the front once a month. Simple, but it keeps your stash fresh and ready. Coming in at number 9. Rice and alternative grains. And this one might just change the way you stock your pantry forever. You've probably heard some chatter about rising rice prices, but what's really going on is way deeper than inflation. Last month I came across a report from Dr. Sarah Chen at Cornell that totally stunned me. Climate disasters have wiped out over 30% of Asia's rice paddies in just the past year. But here's the top, and it's not just statistics, it's personal. A neighbor of mine just got back from visiting her family in Thailand. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Entire rice farms, land that's been in our family for generations, are now completely underwater." That's not just sad, it's catastrophic. Because those flooded areas, they used to grow nearly half the world's rice. So what does this mean for us? It means rice is about to become the new toilet paper of the grocery store aisle, vanishing before you even realize it's low. But here's the silver lining. There are smarter grain choices that savvy folks are already grabbing. Let's talk about quinoa, bulgur, and barley. These aren't just trendy health foods, they're nutritional powerhouses. I picked up a 4-pound bag of quinoa at Costco for under $10. That bag gives you complete protein, cooks in just 15 minutes, and honestly, it tastes amazing. Even my teenage daughter now prefers quinoa over plain white rice. That says a lot. Want an even cheaper option? Bulgur wheat. Around $3 for a 2-pound bag, and it cooks in 10 minutes flat. Plus, it's packed with fiber, more than brown rice. I've been sneaking it into stir-fries and soups for months, and no one in my family has complained. In fact, they've started asking for it. Here's a mistake I made that you can avoid. Store your grains in airtight containers, and toss in a couple bay leaves to keep bugs out. I learned that trick the hard way, after losing an entire shelf of grains to pantry moths. Don't be me. Let's move on to item 8, powdered milk and dairy alternatives. If you think powdered milk is just for camping trips, think again, because right now it could be your best backup plan. There are only 3 major powdered milk facilities in North America, 2 of them facing massive breakdowns. According to a source I trust inside a dairy plant in Wisconsin, they've been working at half capacity since January, and it's not getting better anytime soon. But here's what surprised me most. Powdered milk has come a long way. Thanks to new microfiltration tech, the flavor and texture are way better than they used to be. I did a blind taste test with my kids using Nidato Fortifica, and my 10-year-old legit thought it was real milk. No joke. Even better? Brands like Peak offer shelf-stable milk that lasts 7 years unopened. That's 40 glasses of milk in one container, without worrying about expiration dates or running to the store. Here's a pro tip. When you mix powdered milk, use cold water and let it sit in the fridge for 2 hours. This gives the proteins time to fully dissolve, and the taste becomes nearly identical to fresh milk. And if you're wondering how to store it, don't buy the big canister. Once opened, flavor starts fading in about 6 months. Instead, I keep 3 small sealed containers and 1 open for daily use. Works like a charm and saves a ton of waste. Now for all the caffeine lovers out there, item number 7 is a tough one. Coffee. If your morning cup is your daily ritual, brace yourself. Brazil, the world's coffee giant, is facing its worst drought in 50 years. On top of that, insane shipping costs are leaving tons of beans rotting at ports, unable to move. And yes, it's hitting the brands we all love. Lavazza, seeing a 60% cut in supply. Pete's Major Dickinson's blend, down 40% in production. Even Starbucks reserve bags, the black ones with the fancy roast, are starting to quietly disappear. But here's the part most people miss. Brands are now shipping older beans just to keep shelves from going empty. A friend of mine who runs a local roastery told me yesterday, if you're not checking roast dates, you're drinking stale coffee. Here's what to do. Flip the bag over and look for a roast date. If it's older than 30 days, leave it. Fresh beans lose their magic fast. And please don't freeze your coffee. That ruins it. The moisture and condensation wreck the oils that give coffee its flavor. Instead, grab an airtight container, store it in a dark cupboard, and only buy what you can use in a month. If you see your favorite blend on the shelf, don't panic buy, but maybe grab an extra bag while you can. Prices are rising, supplies are thinning, and that morning cup might not always be guaranteed. Coming in hot at number 6, chocolate and cocoa products. And yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if chocolate is your comfort food, brace yourself. This one hurts. We're in the middle of the worst cocoa crisis in 4 decades. Prices have already jumped 137% since January, and things are spiraling fast. Those luxurious dark chocolate bars you love, the ones with 70% cocoa or more, they're disappearing. I'm talking about brands like Lindt and Goya cutting their premium lines by nearly 40%. I walked into my local store just yesterday, and the shelves looked sad. The once-packed chocolate section now has just a few dusty bars left. It felt like the But here's the real kicker. It's not just about cocoa beans. There's a massive labor crisis in West Africa where most of the world's cocoa is grown. Over 20,000 skilled workers have left the industry in just 6 months. It's like trying to run a restaurant with no chefs. You've got the ingredients, but nobody to make the product. And what's the industry doing in response? Reformulating. Yep, companies like Hershey's and Mars are reducing cocoa content to stretch what little they have. So that rich, decadent chocolate bar you treat yourself with, it might start tasting a little off. Here's my advice. If you spot your favorite premium bars, especially anything over 60% cocoa, buy a few now. No need to hoard, but do stock up while you can. And in case you're wondering, white chocolate won't save you. Even though it uses less cocoa, its ingredients are tied to the same crumbling supply chains. Bottom line, if chocolate matters to you, don't wait until Valentine's Day to realize it's vanished. Item 5. Frozen vegetables. And trust me, this one's gonna hit every family hard. Those convenient bags of broccoli, green beans, and peas, they're disappearing and fast. But this isn't just about demand, it's a perfect storm of disasters. First, freak weather. The Midwest has been hammered with the worst frost damage in 30 years, wiping out entire fields in Nebraska and Iowa. In California, floods have obliterated harvests. We're talking 60% losses, the kind we haven't seen since the legendary drought of 1988. But here's what really blew my mind. 3 of the biggest veggie freezing facilities in North America are either shut down or seriously delayed. One of them, the largest in Washington state, is mid-upgrade and won't be back online until spring. That's a third of the nation's frozen veggie processing on pause. And yes, prices are already doubling. I've watched frozen broccoli bags leap from $2.99 to $5.99 in just weeks. So here's what I've started doing, and you should too. Buy fresh and freeze them yourself. Seriously, it takes minutes to blanch and store them, and the taste? Honestly better. I've cut about 40% off my veggie bill doing this. Plus, no more panicking when you can't find a single bag of spinach in the freezer aisle. Now let's roll into item 4, flour and baking essentials. Bakers, you already know. But for everyone else, stock up now. Flour isn't just expensive, it's vanishing. Wheat exports are dropping globally, down 7.2% this year, and U.S. flour production at a 12-year low. Add to that a 34% drop in wheat yields since October, and we've got ourselves a serious shortage. I saw it with my own eyes just last week. 3 different grocery stores, the baking aisles were stripped bare. What little flour remained was priced like it came with a side of gold. My friend Sarah owns a bakery downtown. She showed me her supplier invoices. Prices have jumped to 115% in 3 years. She's now baking half the volume she used to, just to stay in business. And here's where most people go wrong. They only buy all-purpose flour. Smart shoppers are turning to alternative flours like almond, chickpea, and coconut flour. These options last way longer, don't attract pests, and can be used in nearly everything. I baked cookies with almond flour last week. My kids didn't even notice a difference. Oh, and here's a secret weapon most people don't know. Vital wheat gluten. Mix just a spoonful with lower protein flours and boom, you've got homemade bread flour. One small bag can stretch pounds of basic flour. Storage matters too. I lost my entire stash last year to weevils. Lesson learned. Now I store all my flour in airtight containers in a cool, dry place and haven't had a single bug since. Item 3. Canned tomato products. Let's talk about tomatoes, because what's happening right now will seriously make you rethink that can of crushed tomatoes in your pantry. Global tomato production is dropping fast. This year alone, we're looking at an 11.5% drop, taking us down to the lowest output in years. And here's the shocker. California, the heart of America's tomato processing industry, is cutting production back to levels we haven't seen since the 1970s. That's not just a stat, it's a big red flag. Restaurants are already feeling it. One chef told me he might have to cut pasta dishes entirely because tomato paste prices have skyrocketed 80%. And it's not just a restaurant problem. Ketchup, pizza sauce, marinara, anything with processed tomatoes is getting hit hard. Why? Brutal heat waves are slamming tomato fields, and when it gets too hot, tomatoes just stop growing. It's like they're saying, nope, I'm done. So what do? Stock up. Crushed tomatoes, paste, whole canned, these have long shelf lives and are incredibly versatile. I always keep at least 24 cans on hand and cycle through them. It's not just prepping, it's smart cooking. Item 2. Honey and natural sweeteners. Now here's something that honestly shook me. Honey could become a luxury. Bee populations are crashing fast. Some estimates say commercial beekeepers might lose up to 70% of their colonies this year alone. One local beekeeper I know lost 9 out of 12 hives, and he's been doing this for over a decade. It's not just pests or chemicals. It's a perfect storm of stressors that bees just can't handle anymore. Here's why that matters. Bees don't just make honey. They're responsible for pollinating over a third of the world's food supply. If they collapse, we're looking at serious food shortages. And yes, honey prices are already spiking. Some stores can't even keep it in stock anymore. So what should you do? Start building a sweetener stash now. Raw honey lasts forever. Literally, archaeologists have found jars in ancient tombs that are still good. Also look into maple syrup, agave, date syrup, even powdered monk fruit or stevia. These options aren't just good backups, they're smart additions to your emergency pantry. Item 1. Salt and preservation must-haves. Okay, I saved the most underrated item for last, salt. You think it's just a seasoning? It's so much more than that. Right now, there's a nationwide rock salt shortage in the US, and producers are running non-stop to meet the insane demand. But the real risk isn't about icy roads, it's about food preservation. Remember the Texas freeze? Some families had food but no power, and no salt to preserve it. Meat went bad, vegetables spoiled, all because no one thought about salt as a survival tool. Here's the thing, different salts serve different roles. Table salt is great for daily cooking. Kosher salt is best for brining. Coarse salt is what you want for curing meat. Himalayan salt even adds trace minerals to your diet. Personally, I've stocked up on over 50 pounds across these types. Sound extreme? It's not. Salted fish, pickled veggies and cured meats were how our grandparents made it through the winter without fridges. These methods are making a comeback, and for good reason. We've just covered the final stretch of 12 items that are disappearing fast, but here's the bottom line: don't panic, be strategic. Next time you shop, add just 1 or 2 extras, an extra dozen eggs, a can of chicken, a backup oil bottle. That's how smart prepping starts. Quiet, steady, and consistent. And now it's your turn. What's the first item you're grabbing? Drop it in the comments. I seriously read all of them. Some of the best advice I've ever shared came straight from you guys. If this helped you see what's really happening behind the scenes, smash that like button and subscribe. I put hours into research and sourcing this info so you don't have to. And next week, we're breaking down the incoming coffee crisis. It's bigger than you think. Don't wait until empty shelves make the decision for you. Stay sharp, stay prepared, and I'll see you in the next one.